Schus of our learning to be a protection in the Shlomo, everyone that needs. We'll start today, Kuf Zayin, that's 107, A, 5 lines from the top. Ameimar, say that, Ameimar. The last thing we learned was a statement from Rava, and Ameimar is going to say the statement from Rava as well, with just one slight difference. It was the halachas, the conclusions of the previous gemaras. Ameimar pasuk lashmaita de Rava b'hailishna. Ameimar said the statement of Rava in the following version. Amar Rava says hilchos hatam mekadosh. The halacha is that someone that ate before Kiddush is still allowed to say Kiddush. Tam Avdal, someone that ate before Abdallah is still allowed to say Abdallah. Mishlei Kiddush Berev Shabbos, someone that didn't say Kiddush Friday night. Mekadosh Vailach Baliyim Kuli can say Kiddush the whole Shabbos. In other words, that bracha. Mishlei Hivdo B'Maitzah Shabbos, someone that didn't say Abdallah on Maitzah Shabbos. And here comes the difference. Ma'avdal V'Hailach Kaliyim Kuli, he could say Abdallah the whole Sunday. So in the last version, what we learned yesterday, we said Ma'avdal V'Hailach Kol Shabbos Kuli. You have the whole week. And the whole week we meant Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Ameimar's version of Rava, we have just Sunday. Taisus points out that the halacha is like the first lishna. And then he throws in that Tisha B'Av, Shechaliyas B'Maitzah Shabbos, if Tisha B'Av is on a Sunday, or it's a Nidcha, that's usually why it's on a Sunday. So we make Havdalah after Tisha B'Av, which is on a Monday. So Shabbos Havdalah making on a Monday. You see, we paskin like Rava, the first lishna, that you can make Havdalah Sunday night, which is already Monday. Amrile Mar Yenuka Umar Kashisha Breder of Chisda Rav Ashi. Mar Yenuka and Mar Kashisha, the sons of Rav Chisda, said to Rav Ashi. Yeah, there's two versions over here. If Mar Yenuka means young, and Kashisha means old. The question is if Mar Yenuka is older than Mar Kashisha. Now, how could that be? Because Mar Yenuka is because he was born when Rav Chisda was young, which makes him older. And Mar Kashisha is born Rav Chisda is old, which makes him younger. So that's the different interpretations. Okay, they said to Rav Ashi, Zimna Chada said one time, Ikla Ameimar Lasrin. Ameimar came to our land, to our place. We didn't have wine. I seen a Shichra, so we brought him beer. Abdul, he didn't want to use it for Abdallah. So Ubas Tavas. He went to bed. That's a quote from a pasuk. He went to bed fasting. He went to bed hungry. The following day, we found some wine. Then he said Abdallah, and then he ate. Yeah, does this mean that if you don't have wine for Abdallah, that you have to fast? Or is this something special about a Meimah? It's discussed in Shulchan Aruch. It's quoted this. Lashana, the following year, Su, again, Iklalas, when he came to our place. Le'avalin Chamra, we didn't have wine. I seen a Shichra. So we brought him beer. Amari Hachi, if that's the case, Chamar Medino, Abdulatamidi, then this must be the country's drink. And he said, Havdalah on it, and he ate. So there's this concept that we're learning of Chamar Medina, that if there is a drink that's considered the drink of the country, something that's a regular drink, that you can use that for Havdalah. If I'm not mistaken, I think Reb Moshe says that the way to determine what's Chamar Medina is a drink that's used not for your thirst. If you invite someone over and you say, would you like a cup of coffee? It's not because he's thirsty. You drink coffee because it's like a social drink, So, or a glass of whiskey is not because you're thirsty. I hope. It's a social drink. Or tea or something like that. Yeah, I don't know what soda is. Soda is like, I don't know. Okay, so Shema Mina Talas. We see three things. Shema Mina Amabdul B'Tfila Tzarch Shiavdal Alakais. First of all, we see that even though Ameimar, he davened Ma'ariv and he said Atochen Antanu, but he still has to make Avdal Alakais. It's not enough. Shema Mina Asalayla Adam Sheichel Kedem Sheyavdal. You see, you're not allowed to eat before Avdallah. Okay. Shema Mina Mishlei Hivdal Mitzvah Shabbos Mavdal V'Hailach Kol Shabbos Kulei. We see that you can make Havdalah the whole week. Now, right away, there's a problem here. We actually don't see that. We only see that you make Havdalah on Sunday. We don't see that you make Havdalah the whole week. So Tosfos asks this. Shema Mina, you see that Tosfos? It says, Leisha Mina Mina Yala Kol Hayom. So why does the Gemara tell me that I see something that I don't really see? We see Shema Mina. We see that it's just trying to throw in the halacha as well. We see that you can make Havdalah after Motzei Shabbos. I only see Sunday, but we don't want to say that it's Sunday because then that would be saying that that's the halacha. Really, the halacha is that you can make Havdalah the whole week up until Tuesday. Okay, so it's put it in that language to include the actual halacha. Boi minei Rav Huna mi Rav Chisda. Now the Bach switches this around, and he switches it to Rav Chisda asks Rav Huna, which fits better. I don't know if the Bach is because he had a different text, or if it's because it's not logical for Rav Huna, who was much older, as a student of Rav, to be asking questions of Rav Chisda, who's younger than him. It would make more sense that through, and we'll see later. Okay, so let's say Rav Chisda asked Rav Huna the following question. Mahu l'kedushay ashichra. Can you make kiddush on beer? We said so far that you can make Havdalah on beer if it's Hamar Medina. So Amar, Rav Huna responds, Hashta now Omar Perzuma. When it comes to barley beer, when Rav Chisda was asking about beer, he was referring to a date beer made out of dates. What about? So he says, when it comes to barley beer, b'tiene v'asni, or fig beer, that's asni comes from a sneh, probably a sabra. I don't know, the beer that they made from fruits, yeah, whatever grew on bushes. So the boy minei Rav that we asked Rav, you see, Rav Huna is a student of Rav. Rav mi Reb Chia. Rav asked his uncle Reb Chia. Reb Chia mi Rebbe. Reb Chia was a big student of Rebbe. He asked Rebbe, "V'lei pashatlei," and he didn't answer him. He asked him about those things. What did he ask him about? Kiddush or Havdalah? I guess Kiddush. Shichra mi bayi. You're asking about date beer. Date beer is an inferior quality beer. And when it came to those better beers, the barley beer and the fig beer and the fruit beer, so over there, Rav didn't want to answer. Now you're asking about date beer, which is inferior quality. We understood that it was only regarding, the question was only regarding Kiddush, but Havdalah was no problem. Havdalah was no problem. Amalu Rav Chisda, Hachi Amarav. It's probably, if the Bach switched it before, he probably wants to switch this as well. That Rav Huna said, so says Rav, Kshem Shem Makachem Alav, Kachem Abdilam Alav, that you can't use it for Havdalah either. Very interesting. It's Manami, Amarav Tachlifa, Amaravim, Amashmol, Kshem Shem Makachem Alav, Kachem Abdilam Alav, that you can't use beer for Havdalah. Just like you can't use it for Kiddush, you can't use it for Havdalah. Around 107. Yeah. The Alter Rebbe says that if there's wine, you should not use anything else other than wine for Havdalah. However, Rabbi Shapiro told me that after Pesach they would always use beer for Abdullah. That it's beer after Pesach because you weren't. It's like an exciting thing to be able to have beer right after Pesach. You go to a Berisha store, I guess, buy some beer to make Abdullah. So yeah. Levi Shadale Lerebi Shichra Bartlesar Magni. Levi sent to Rebbe beer that was soaked 13 times. Now, I assume it should be a very thick beer. If you add the malt or whatever, this was soaked. They kept putting the water in for more and more taste. It would get thicker and thicker, probably. Gets very tasty. Tami have a basim tuva. The taste had a great aroma. Amar Tigainzerai Lakadish Alav. Rabbi said, this beer, this is worthy of making kiddush over this. V'leimar alav kol shirs with the spracha sheba'ilam, to say all the songs and praises in the world over such a beer. V'layla tzare, that night it caused him pain. Rashi says that the date beer can cause diarrhea. The Rashbam brings us. So Amar Miyasrin Matthias, it causes suffering, and we're going to use it to praise Hashem. No, you can't do it. So maybe that's the background to the story. No, we don't know what Rebbe didn't answer when it came to making Abdullah and beer. Okay, Amar Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef said, Eda barabim b'leishte shikra. Going to make a vow in public that I'm not going to drink beer. I guess from the beer it was very tasty, but it also caused suffering. So he wants to take a vow that he's not going to have beer. Amar Rava ishte meizurin b'leishte shikra. Rava says I'd rather drink flax water, which probably stunk. It's used for the flax was used to make linen, but this expression this term flax water was like really foul smelling. But I would rather have that than to drink beer. Rava cursed someone that makes kiddush on beer. He says his drink should be beer, which was beer apparently was a poor man's drink. Makes kiddush on beer, that should be his drink. Rav Ashkeche Rav Huna, the Kaddish HaShichra. Yeah, I would have read this. Rav found Rav Huna that was making kiddush on beer, but that's not the pshat. Rav Kama Ashkeche Rav Huna. Rav Huna found him. Rav Huna found Rav that the Kaddish HaShichra, that he was making kiddush on beer. Now that's a bit of a problem. Didn't we say before that Rav Huna said that he held that you can't make kiddush on beer? Amar Lei, he said to him, Shari Abba lemikni astiri mishichra. Has Abba started to gain coins from the beer? Apparently Rav started to sell beer. I thought Rav Huna made beer, whatever the case is. And now you're starting to appreciate it, and now you're using it for kiddush. So it could be that that the statement of Rav earlier that you can't use beer for kiddush switched, and he changed his mind later. Ketana Rabbanan. We have a brisa. In mekachin el al yayin, vein mevarchin el al yayin. Kiddush is only on wine, and blessings are only on wine. The Gemara says, "Atu shichra ma'aya milay marvchin alay o shakel nebedvara." You don't say a blessing on beer and water. You only say a blessing on beer and wine. Amar Abaya hachi kamerinamim havi kishal bracha levarich el al yayin. When we said blessings, we were talking about Birkas Hamazon. That's when you were going to bench. That has to be with wine. Okay. Tana Rabbanan. In mekachin al sheikha. The Brisa says you can't make kiddush on beer. Shimon Rabbi Elazar bar Reb Shimon Amru Mekadshin. Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon says you can make kiddush on beer. Matemis yayin kolshu. Someone has to taste the wine when they make kiddush. Someone has to drink from it. Yes, it just has to take a small taste. Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda malei lugma. Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda says no. You have to have a cheekful. Malei lugma. One cheek, one. It's one swallow, I guess. I don't know. There's a lugma cheek or a swallow. It's a cheek, right? Yeah. Nothing says it was a mouth. It's a mouthful. Oh, so Tosfos over here says, "Kol shilam salka tzadech yirakim lugma." If you put it on one side, it's going to be less than a revius. Okay. So Rabbi Yossi already says malei lugma. Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rav, v'chein tani Rav Gidl min Narish. Rav Huna says the name of Rav, and also Rav Gidl from the place of Narish says Hamakadesh, someone that makes kiddush v'tar malei lugma yatza. If he drank a malei lugma, he's yatza. V'mlav la yatza. If he didn't have a malei lugma, he's not yatza. He didn't have a cheekful. Amar Rav Nachman Yitzchak kana tanina la. I taught this. Loi Gidl bar Menashe, but not in the name of Gidl bar Menashe. Loi Gidl bar Minyumi, but not in the name of Gidl bar Minyumi. Ela Gidl Stama. It was just plain Gidl. In other words, we didn't have which Rav Gidl said this. L'may nafkamina. What's the difference? Remember the day. We shouldn't have contradictions. If we know exactly which Rav Gidl it is, and then we find another statement from Rav Gidl that contradicts it, so that would be a contradiction. But if we don't know which Rav Gidl it is, so then we'll say it's the other one. We resolve the contradictions. The Gemara is now going back to what we learned at the beginning. We started off that Samach L'Mincha, you're not supposed to have a meal. You're not supposed to eat Samach L'Mincha on Erev Pesach. So what is Samach L'Mincha? It's very interesting. My daughter just asked me yesterday. And so why is Mincha called Mincha? Why is the prayer, Mincha prayer, called Mincha? So I said, I remember I asked my father as a kid. I didn't remember the answer. Anyway, I'm looking at this page. I look down. I don't know if you have Avudraham. You have on the outer column on the left. It says about Avudraham. Says that Mincha is called Mincha because in the 10th hour of the day, Adam Rishon was made. Adam Rishon sinned, and it says L'ruach hayayim, and the Targum says L'manach yayma, and that's that time, the 10th hour into the day, is Mincha, Manach yayma, L'ruach hayayim. It's the Aramaic of the afternoon. Yeah, it doesn't have to do with the carbon mincha, because the carbon mincha is brought in the morning and the afternoon, just like there's no specific time for a carbon mincha. You say the chavitin is brought half in the morning, half in the afternoon.
Was that the answer you were given when you were a kid?
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember exactly, but here, Tosfos says, "Ilyo leinene ele betfilas mincha." What's the pshat over there? It says maybe he was bringing a mincha. I don't know how we got the name mincha. Without the Avraham, I don't know. Okay, let's take a look. There's always something. It's such a basic question. Okay, Ibailo. Samach lemincha g'dayla tanan, idilma samach lemincha ktana tanan. There's actually two minchas. There is the earlier mincha, which we call mincha g'dayla, which is 6.5 hours into the day. Samach lemincha would be 6 hours into the day, 6 full hours into the day. Means you have to stop eating. Or is it mincha ktana? Mincha ktana is 9.5 hours into the day. Samach lemincha ktana would be 9 hours into the day. So when it says you have to stop eating, what does it mean? Samach lemincha. Does it mean the whole afternoon? It doesn't mean just the last 3 hours of the day. So it says samach lemincha g'dayla tanan. If it's because of samach lemincha g'dayla, if it's samach lemincha g'dayla, which means the whole afternoon, all 6 hours, mishum pesach del masil mimshach. Why? Because you have to bring the carbon pesach. If we're going to tell you, oh, you can also eat a meal, you may neglect bringing the carbon pesach. You won't bring the carbon pesach. So therefore, all 6 hours, all afternoon, you're not allowed to eat. Or maybe that's not the pshat. The issue is mincha ktana, the last 3 hours of the day. Mishamatza. And it doesn't have to do with the carbon pesach. It has to do with having an appetite for the matzah. Maybe you're going to get so full when it comes time to eating the matzah, you're going to be stuffed and you're going to just shove the matzah in. It's not going to be even considered eating. You're going to be so full that it's not even going to be counted as really eating. It's called achila gasa. Achila gasa is when you're full and you still eat. Okay, this is our question. What is the meaning of the Mishnah? Amar Ravina says, Tashma, come and listen. Afilo, he quotes Brisa. It says, Afilo Agrippas Amela. Even Agrippas. Agrippas was one of the Chashmonai kings. Supposed to be a good king. He was the one that he cried when they said that a king has to be from our brothers, and he cried that he was violating them. He would eat a late breakfast. Teisha shais. That's about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. So that's what he would do. I'm not sure why, but the commentaries say maybe the pshat is that he woke up 3 hours into the day, like it says a king wakes up 3 hours into the day. And then he ate the Sudas Talmud Chacham, which is 6 hours into the day. Right? The regular person eats 4 hours into the day. And the Talmud Chacham eats 6 hours into the day. Right? He delays his meal, the Talmud Chacham. So if that's the case, so 3 plus 6. He eats 9 hours into the day. Okay, so even Agrippa said would eat 9 hours into the day. But on Erev Pesach, he wouldn't eat until it got dark. So, now 1 second, 9 hours into the day doesn't mean 9 full hours, it means into the 9th hour. So, if it's samach lemincha ktana, that means that really he would have to stop eating very shortly after that, at the 9th hour, right? So, Hainu Rabuse de Agrippas. Now we have a chiddush. He said, Afilu Agrippas. Even Agrippas doesn't eat because he could have eaten. He could have eaten. He has about 45 minutes over there, or whatever, 59 minutes that he could eat. But no, he's not going to eat. But if you say that you have to stop eating from 6 hours into the day, my Rabusa de Agrippas, what's the chiddush? Agrippas isn't going to eat. It's forbidden for him to eat. Of course, he's not eating. Ella samach lemincha ktana tanan. It must be samach lemincha ktana. So the Gemara says, "Safe, my Rabusa de Agrippas, matal is manisura." But 1 second. So still, what's the chiddush? It's already the time. I think what the Gemara means is that if he knows that the meal is going to continue into the forbidden time, then he shouldn't be starting. I could have thought like this. Could have thought that really he eats 4 hours into the day. There goes the pshat with the 6 hours. Regularly, a person eats 4 hours into the day. Agrippas eats 9 hours into the day. But if someone eats 4 hours into the day, when it comes to night, he has an appetite. It's not a concern. So too, Agrippas that eats 9 hours into the day. That 9 hours into the day would be like 4 hours into the day, and he would still have an appetite for at night. So maybe we're saying is that his breakfast would not spoil his dinner. Breakfast doesn't spoil dinner. Our breakfast is 4 hours into the day, his is 9 hours into the day. And he'll still have an appetite for dinner. Kamash Malan is coming to tell us this chiddush, that we don't say this, and I would only get this chiddush if I'm saying that it's mincha ketana. Otherwise, I would say that it's just aser from to eat, because it's already the time that's aser to eat. We're seeing is that you have to stop eating at 3 hours before dark, because of that's 9 hours into the day. Amar Rebbe, or maybe it's Rabbi Yossi. Amar Rabbi Asi. It's different versions here. Aval matbil hu b'mini targima. Even though you're not allowed to eat, but that just means a real meal. But you're allowed to have mini targima. Now, what is mini targima? The Rashbam says that it's fruit and meat without bread. Tosfos is a little concerned because we have Gemaras that say that on mini tagima you say mezainis. So it's going to be a problem over here. Anyway, let's learn that it means that you're allowed to have fruit and meat on Pesach afternoon. Pesach afternoon. What are you going to have before? We don't eat the items that are on the Seder plate. So probably apples, that type of fruit you shouldn't eat. But mangoes, in season, avocado, piece of chicken, that you should be allowed to eat. Okay. You're not supposed to get full, of course. Yeah, but you're allowed to eat something. But you don't have to fast, right? Rabbi Yitzchak matbil biyarki. Rabbi Yitzchak matbil is their way of eating, and he would have vegetables. I think matbil will just say he ate. What would he do? He would probably dip his vegetables in vinegar, it says. What did I see there? Somewhere I saw that he would dip it in vinegar. Okay. Tani Nami Hachi. It was also taught in the Brisa. Hashamish matbil b'nei me'ayin. B'nei l'fnei archen. B'nei me'ayim are the innards of the animals. It doesn't mean the carbon Pesach, because that was probably either put on the altar, and it means the animals that they had prepared for the holiday. Whatever other meats that there were, he would serve this to the guests. The food that was shechted for Sudas Yom Tov. Even though there's no proof for this, but there is a support. There is a hint. Plow for you are plowing, and don't plant by the thorns. The Rashbam learns what this means is that when you plow, then when you plant after you plow, then it takes root. So too, if you eat a little bit beforehand, it increases your appetite, and then you'll be able to eat more afterwards. Now, Tosfos is a little concerned about this because it says, Niru lachem nir. Over there, you're plowing, and then you're planting. And what the Rashbam wants it to be a mashal for is eat and then eat. And plow and plant are two different things. So what he says is like this. He says it's talking about Hashem is telling the Jewish people that don't return to me while you're holding on to your avodah zaros. First, get rid of your avodah zaros. Don't plant near the thorns. If you plant near the thorns, it's not going to help all your planting. It's going to just mix with the thorns. It's going to be a waste of time. So therefore, he says like this: eat a little bit, so you don't give up. So if you eat a little bit and you're starting, it's like as if you're starting to get rid of the bad things that the people were involved in, and then you'll be able to come close to me. Which means that if you don't eat it all, you'll say, "Oh, forget it. There's no food." But if you eat a little bit, then you say, "Oh, there's more coming. It will increase your appetite." So it's the plow. He's not stressing the plow over here. He's stressing that don't plant near the thorns. If you're just going to eat when that night, then it's like planting near the thorns. It says if someone waits too long to eat, the food doesn't have the same good effect on him. It says kazayrik even lachemes. It's like you threw a stone into a bag. It doesn't have the same beneficial nutritional or the same benefits. So it's good to eat a little bit first, and then it will increase the appetite, and then you'll have a better meal Pesach night. Rava havishasi chamra kuli mala yom de Pesach. This is a big chiddush. Rava would drink wine all erev Pesach. Now the Gemara in Bracha said that that's a problem because wine is satisfying. Yayin yisamach levav enesh, v'lechem levav enesh. Yes, that we said that the wine satisfies and gladdens. That's what the Gemara said. However, the Gemara then said that if you drink a lot of wine, it instead of satisfying, it makes you hungry. So so that he should eat a lot of matzah that night. Now, why do you need a lot of matzah? You only need it because it means probably you should eat matzah with a lot of appetite, not a lot. So matzah tvei. I don't know what that's a job. Okay, Amar Rava. Here. Where do we say that the wine increases the appetite? The Tanan, it says like this. Very interesting halacha. That between the first cup and the second cup, you're allowed to have another drink of wine. Yeah, we don't, but theoretically it would be permissible. If you want to drink, you can have another drink. Between the third cup and the fourth cup, that you can't have another drink. Now, what's the reason why between the third cup and the fourth cup you can't have another drink? So the Rashbam says that it looks like you're adding to the amount of cups. I don't know why it doesn't look like it's adding in between the first and second, but between the third and the fourth cup, it looks like you're adding a fifth cup. However, the Yerushalmi gives another pshat. The Yerushalmi's pshat is that you're going to get drunk and you won't be able to say hello, which is what we do at the end of the Haggadah. So he says, 1 second, but what about all the wine that you drank before? He says, oh, don't worry about that wine. That wine is during the meal. Wine during the meal doesn't get you drunk. It's wine after the meal that gets you drunk. So between the third and the fourth cup, you're not allowed to drink wine. Whatever the case is, we see that you're allowed to drink wine in between the first and second cup. If you say that wine is satisfying, that means wine is satiates, right? Fills a person up. Why is he allowed to drink? He's going to be eating achila gasa. He's going to be full. He's not going to eat the matzah when he's on it with an appetite. We see obviously that the wine is migr gara, that it draws his appetite. Okay, let's leave the Gemara over here. Shikayach, everyone.